guys, today you're going to learn how to make mango milk tea using powder. Hey guys, I'm Kristen, the bubble tea queen, and welcome to my channel. Welcome to this special series on how to make boba drinks using restaurant-grade bubble tea shop ingredients. I've owned a bubble tea shop for the last 5 years, and in this video, I'm going to share with you one of my recipes. The flavor of powders differs depending on which brand that you're going to be buying from. So just bear that in mind when you're going to be making this drink using the powder that you have. The flavored powder that we're using today is a base flavored powder, which means it's up to you to add the creamer or milk and fructose or sugar. But just remember that all powders are not created equal. Some have different textures, consistencies, and flavors. This is an industry standard bubble tea scoop. It could be used for powders and syrups. It's approximately 15 to 20 milliliters and just under a tablespoon. And you always want to make sure that your scoops are level. I achieved this by scooping it and giving it a quick shake. And then that gives us a level scoop. First, you're going to need 2 scoops of the mango powder. Next, you will need 2 scoops of the creamer powder. Today, we're using a non-dairy creamer, which is really great for customers because a lot of them happen to be lactose intolerant. If you're making this drink at home, I would definitely recommend getting a hold of some of this non-dairy creamer powder. But if you're unable to, the next best thing would be half and half or a really good whole milk. And next, you will need 2 pumps of fructose, which is approximately 14 milliliters or a half an ounce. And the best way that I have found to make this very quick and easy is by having 2 separate pumps, which give 7 milliliters each. That way when I have my cup, I just hold it under and I go pump, pump, done. And it's also more efficient and less expensive than getting one of those giant automatic machines. We're going to add 25 milliliters of very hot water. And at this point, you want to give it a really good stir. The reason why we do this first step is that way it melts the powder and brings out the flavor, and that way you don't get any chunks in your drink. Next, we're going to add 150 milliliters of black tea. 150 milliliters of black tea is 5 ounces. I prefer a dark Assam black tea for all of my milk tea bases. If you're making this at a bubble tea shop, you would simply bring your measuring jug over to the black tea dispenser and dispense 150 milliliters of the pre-brewed black tea. However, I know many of you will be making this drink at home. So this next step, I'm going to show you how to brew a small batch of black tea. This next step can actually be done before you add the hot water into the powders with the fructose. But just for the flow of this video, I'm going to go ahead and do it right now. I've got my nice glass teapot here that has a really good strainer at the spout. However, you could just simply put it in a Pyrex and then use some sort of strainer to make sure that none of the tea leaves actually gets into the drink. And of course, if you are making this at home by yourself, you can just use tea bags and just kind of approximate how much for this next step. So here I have a huge bubble tea shop size bag of tea, and it is loose leaf. I'm going to be using 2 heaping tablespoons of the black loose leaf tea for 200 milliliters of the hot boiling water. This recipe is actually really easy, it's just a bunch of 2s. And we want our hot boiling water to be about 85 degrees Celsius or 185 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, we're just about right on the money for that temperature. So we have our 200 milliliters of 85 degrees Celsius or 185 degrees Fahrenheit of the hot water. And we're just going to pour it directly just like that. Give it a little bit of a swirl just to combine the water with all of the leaves. And then make sure that you cover it up. We're going to set a timer for 10 minutes. All right, our timer is up. So now we're going to strain out the tea. We need 150 milliliters. And you might be wondering, well, why did we pour in 200 milliliters if we only need 150? Well, a lot of the tea leaves have soaked up a lot of that water. And so actually there is almost exactly 150 milliliters of liquid left in here. The other 50 milliliters got absorbed into the tea leaves. And now that we have our black tea, we can go ahead and pour it in. It's another great opportunity to make sure that all of your powder is dissolved and there are no clumps. The recipe we are making today will yield about 350 milliliter beverage, which is about 12 ounces. In order to get it nice and cold and delicious and get it to the level that we need with the liquid, we're going to add ice before we shake. Now, how much ice? Depends. Now, I happen to have it in a shaker where I know the exact line that the liquid and the ice needs to come up to. If you're making this at home, you'll put in about 5 or 6 ice cubes. And if you're at a shop, about a full scoop of ice. See? Right there. Now, some people might say, well, wait a second, I don't want that much ice in my drink. But don't worry. Remember, the first part of our drink was hot and the ice is cold. So the ice is gonna melt down, which is gonna create more of that watery liquid at a really cold level, and then we will get exactly 350 milliliters of our beverage. There might be a few ice cubes left over, but you can go ahead and chuck those out, or you can add them to your drink. The next step is for us to shake it for anywhere between 1 to 2 minutes. If you don't have a shaker machine, don't worry. You can always shake it by hand. You know it's ready when you get a really nice condensation around the outside of the shaker. Next, I'm going to pour in my topping of choice. With a milk tea, it's always boba, aka tapioca pearl. Pop that in the sealer machine. With these type of shakers, you want to make sure you hold on to this middle section and this bottom section, and simply take the top off. We're going to pour it into our cup, just below that very top line. Perfect. And make sure never to get any liquid around that top rim either, because it may prevent the machine from getting a really strong seal. And I'm going to hit the manual operation button, which will put the seal right on top. Here we are. Check it out. That seal is on nice and tight. It ain't going anywhere. Okay, let's see how this mango milk tea tastes. So creamy. It's really, really good. Well guys, thanks for joining me today as I made this delicious milk tea using powder. Please be sure to check out the videos from my special series where I make boba drinks using restaurant quality grade ingredients just like they do in the bubble tea shops. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing. I bring you a brand new drink video every week. See you soon.